your dear friend and Texas State Representative Ron Reynolds. Hey, Ron.
Hey,
Okay.
Santita.
Oh, and I'll talk about the DNC in Gaza too. That's fine.
No,
But
no, no.
but
You
yeah,
hit it all because all this stuff is what everybody's talking about. You can't
yeah.
choose anymore.
No, no,
It's
no,
all
no.
there's a tie-in. It's called
Yeah, yeah,
fascism.
yeah.
It's racism. It's all of that. Hold
Hmm.
on. We're coming up in five. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Please be safe this weekend and let us honor laborers, and those who want to be laborers. So many Americans want to work. They want to be able to express their God given talents. More and more, we're letting machines take over. Now, I don't mind advancement, but if you advance past the need for people, there's something wrong with that. Think about that, everybody. Let us honor those who work and those who want to work. Think about that as we move into this Labor Day, as everything around us is changing. We have been looking at these police, the policing, the police state. That's what's happening in the United States. You've got ICE, you have got the federalized police, you have got the National Guard, you've got the FBI who will be on our streets, our streets. And I found out something about the National Guard that, quite frankly, took me back a bit. Texas State Representative Ron Reynolds, Dr. James Ogby, and Livonia Perryman. It's bifurcated. That is to say, rank and file take their orders from the President of the United States, but the officers swear an oath to the Constitution. You see the split?
Hmm.
That is very unsettling. It's almost as if the president has a built in vigilante force. And that's what some people are talking about. And as the world is turning and finally acknowledging Palestine, as the world is saying enough of this genocide, which quite frankly did not start 2 years ago, it started with the Nakba. It's been ongoing for 80 years. Everybody, the DNC won't move on that. They just won't move. They are so far away from the Democrats who populate the party. What is going on? While they are meeting in Minneapolis, where are they with Gaza? Where are they with Texas? Is there a voter registration drive in Texas? There are 900,000 black and brown people who are unregistered to vote. Are you going to pour resources into Texas to get them registered to vote? Think about that. What about the millions who are unregistered all around the country? Everybody, I want you to meet me on Blue Sky at santitaj.bsky.social. I'm on X at santitaj. I am on Instagram, Santita Jackson IG. I'm on Facebook, Santita Jackson and Friends. And of course, here on YouTube, everybody like and share, like and share, like and share, like and share. We've got a lot to talk about. And as we started, I had to go to Dr. James Zogby, have to resist the urge to call him Uncle Jim today, but I'm going to do my best. Someone we have gone back so many years, a whole lifetime. And he is someone who continues to push the Democrats and our country to be all that it's supposed to be. He is in Minneapolis at the DNC meeting. We're praying for the people of Minneapolis
Hmm.
today, this tragedy at this church. Uh, while Mass was being celebrated, a young man walked into the church and started shooting everybody, killed at least 3 children, 17 people were shot. This lets you know just how sick our country is.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
certainly, do we need to control the guns, Dr. Zogby? Of course.
yeah.
But you got to control who we are. Because you know what? When we didn't have guns, lynch mobs,
Hmm.
you know, that was a tree, a rope, and a dog,
Hmm.
and a gang of people. It's the intention. So you tell me where, I don't know where you want to begin. I mean, in Chicago, look, let's start here because they're really talking about bringing these troops into
Yeah.
Chicago, and I am trying and taking them back to Los Angeles. They're taking them to these blue cities with that are Democratic, obviously, and that have Black leadership. And there is no relationship between drop in crime or the rise in crime and what they're bringing in. Chicago crime has been dropping. I mean, in a big way, because we have a mayor who used to be a public school teacher, who's worked very hard to institute programs
Mhm.
that would bring crime down. What do you make of what should we do? I know you would say that we should not feel powerless in this moment.
And we are not powerless. We have in every one of these, he's targeting them because they're Democratic cities. Well, that's our power base, is that we have elected officials in each of these communities. We have unions in each of these communities. We have immigrant rights groups, civil rights groups, um, civil liberty groups. We have churches and mosques and synagogues and people who simply need leadership to convene. I've been telling the Democratic Party here, we should be convening massive town halls with elected officials and stakeholders to confront this incremental fascist takeover. I mean, he's only been in office now 6, 7, 8 months, and look at what he's done so far. And the fact is that he's creeping forward, waiting for that moment. He's looking for the Reichstag fire, which they may do on their own to create the provocation that allows him to do it. You talked about the built-in police force that he's got, the thug, the massive increase in custom border patrol that occurred in his first term, the huge budget given to ICE in his second term. And from what I've understood from people at Justice Department who are good people from previous, careerists, is that they never implemented a vetting process because they had so much money to spend. They just went wildly hiring people, and a lot of them are in fact criminals. And they put uniforms on them and said, "You now do this," and they're like, these are white supremacist gang guys saying, "I got a gun now and I can go after colored people," and they're doing it. And we have to confront it massively. And I think the Democratic Party can show leadership by organizing elected officials and stakeholders to do massive displays of resistance in each of these communities. I don't want them voting on bills or not voting on bills. I want them to block the takeover of our cities by massive civil disobedience. That's what this period calls for. And if we don't stop it, it's going to just keep creeping. And 4 years from now, we won't have a country anymore.
While you've been at the DNC at this meeting in Minneapolis, is there any acknowledgement of the moment that we're in? There is so going on.
I was distraught. The opening day was, they talked about the murdered legislators, the folks who were killed by gun violence. They were assassinated actually earlier, and a passionate address by Governor Walz and by Amy Klobuchar. Mm-hmm. But then they brought on a woman, a pollster, to talk about DC. She didn't know DC from a hole in the ground. And she was talking about, well, violent crime is, and violent crime. And I'm sitting next to Anita Bonds and Kevin Chavis and people from the district, and they didn't have anybody from the district talking about it. I mean, it's one thing to be talked about. It's another thing to talk for yourself. And there was no plan of action set for how do we confront this. We can complain about it, but we have to do something to confront it. And that's what I think needs to happen. That did not get brought up at the meeting, which is why I've been cornering people in the party saying that's what we got to do.
Did they mention Texas and California and redistricting?
They did in a, kind of, they're doing it and we're going to beat them by doing California. But, the kind of stuff your dad did, which is what you did at the top of the show, which is do numbers and talk about a plan to make it happen, that was not talked about. And frankly, I look at some of these maps and I say, we could win those districts anyway if we had the proper mobilization and voter registration to get it done.
And you have to have the numbers. You have to have
Yeah.
the it puts flesh on the bones. It helps people to understand where we are.
And we don't need to be losing the votes that we've been losing. Why are we losing 40% of Latino voters? Why are we losing black voters? Why are we losing immigrant voters? We don't, I mean, this is not a question of where the lines get from, although it is. I mean, we have to confront that. But we also have to confront the fact that we do not have an appropriate model for voter mobilization and the incentive to do it. We just don't. And that's our failure. We're not giving people the sense of urgency that they know they have, but they just don't feel that there's leadership talking about it in the way that it has to be talked about.
We could lose two of our boldest voices in Congress because of redistricting, Jasmine Crockett and Al Green.
By design.
By design, and that is not central to the conversation. That to me is absolutely insane.
They did not get mentioned.
I'm going back 40 years with you coming out with Reverend Jackson, coming out of the '84 campaign, as you all did, Livonia Perryman. And we walked out of San Francisco. Reverend walked out with a plan. He said, we have got to take back the Senate. It sounded, Representative Reynolds, crazy at the time. Reagan was the Trump of that era. And, all that they did, all that he and James Ogby and Livonia Perryman with messaging, what they did was they put their heads down and they kept registering voters. They never stopped. They never stopped letting voters know this is what is on the table. And I just don't understand why they don't take these lessons. I mean, because this is absolutely insane, because they act as if President Obama just happened. All he did was pick up Reverend's playbook, what y'all came up with. That's what he did. He did not come up with anything new, which does not diminish him at all. But the work had already been done. All you need to do was have someone walk in and do it. And now here we are. You could have us permanently gerrymandered out of power, and the party's not saying anything. Wait a minute. Hold on. Look, I want to know, Gaza has the world on fire, and the West Bank. The world is on fire. What is going on with the DNC? Help me.
Okay, let me tell you, because I'm going to have to go in a bit. I have to get a flight back home. But let me tell you, there was a resolution submitted by a young woman from Florida. It actually was a good resolution, but the problem is twofold. One is the DNC really does not legislate. What the DNC does is build capacity, mobilize voters. And that's what it's supposed to do, and win elections. So they were flummoxed. They didn't know how to respond to it. This came from the young Democrats who have mobilized heavily in different states on Gaza. And the DNC had to consider it. I was initially saying, oh, don't do this. Then I thought, we cannot turn these kids away. We can't say no to this. This is something that voices have to be heard. And what the party did, instead of talking to them, they didn't talk to them at all. They came out with an alternative resolution that would have been great 4 years ago because it would have broken some ground. But after what we've seen in the last 2 years, it was completely unresponsive. People are dying in Gaza. They're not dying in Gaza. They're being killed in Gaza. And they're being killed with our weapons. And it wouldn't address that at all. So I tried to figure out a way. I said, look, either let both resolutions pass or pull both resolutions and don't even do it. If you're going to do it and create a crisis, then don't. So went to the meeting, the resolutions committee meeting, and the party's alternative, quote unquote, alternative passed, and the other one got defeated, the one that was introduced by the young woman from Florida. Chairman Martin did a smart thing, I think. He called the group together that endorsed the resolution that lost, and he said, I'm going to withdraw mine so that we'll start with a clean slate and create a task force of stakeholders from the Arab and Jewish side and see if we can come up with some language that we can all work with. I thought it was smart. Now, some folks in my community, as you know, your communities too, like to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. They were, we lost. I said, no, you know what? We actually won, because the last time we talked about Palestine in the Democratic Party was 1988. It was your father, and it was me going in the platform to the podium to speak about the issue at the convention.
That's
Haven't
it?
had a conversation about it since then. Yeah,
Since
I've been on the
19
DNC for 30 plus years, and it hasn't been talked about since. So this is a victory that we had a conversation. It's a victory that the chairman felt the pressure from young voters to withdraw his resolution. He didn't want to rub people's noses in the fact I won, you lost. And I think that's an important thing. It's a measure of the fact that there's now an actual contest for power and influence on this issue. The first time we've had it since your father ran in '88, when we gave him a contest on this issue. Haven't been able to do it since, and I think it's really quite significant.
So where do we go from here? I mean,
Well,
because
we go, look, we got 60% of the Senate, Democrats in the Senate, voted to suspend offensive weapons to Israel, Bernie's bill. The number of those in the House who are signing on to Delia Ramirez's bill keeps growing every day, with Jewish members signing on as well to also suspend weapons to Israel. So I think we're doing it.
Okay.
It's late. Wish we'd done it years ago, but there's movement now. Unfortunately, tragically, 62,000 lives later, people are finally figuring out that there's something wrong here. And can Gaza be rebuilt? I just don't know. Can the lives of people in Gaza be rebuilt? I don't think so. I think, look, we have a lost generation of people who have no homes, no shelter, no food, and they've lost their childhood. Kids with no parents, wounded. I don't know. The task is monumental. 80% of the housing the dwellings have been demolished. We have 17,000 kids who have been wounded or are left without parents. What's going to
we have turned away from America's borders just now. You saw that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hilarious.
These people are sick and evil.
But Dr. Zogby, hold on. Gaza can be rebuilt. They're already planning to do that. I'm just wondering, Palestinians should rebuild their home, not the Saudis and Jared Kushner.
Yeah, no, Jared Kushner, no. Saudis, we need their resources to do it. But one of the things the Gulf states say is, and I think this needs to be considered, Israel created this mess. Why are we picking up and cleaning up after them unless they get the hell out and leave it alone? They have to end the occupation. You're not going to get these guys fronting for Israel to say, okay, you made the mess, you stay here, but we'll clean it up and fix it up and build houses while you stay here in control. That's unacceptable. Israel, there has to be accountability for what they did. There has to be accountability. And that's why Bernie's bill and Delia's bills are important. We have to say to people, you are not going to get away with this. We're not going to give you any more political support, financial support, weapon support, because of look at what you've done.
Before you go, I wanted to, if you could help me to understand where we go from here, because I know I've got Texas State Representative Ron Reynolds. He was one of the Democrats who was running for freedom. They were at Rainbow Push. They were here in Illinois. And we've got Sonia Perryman. You've been working with her for decades. What can you tell them and us about where we go from here?
I think we need your voices on the national level, not just to say this is what we're facing and this is what we're protesting, but to say in a loud voice, where the hell are you, Democrats? Where are you, Democrat leadership? This is not just Texas legislators, telling them, where are the people who are listening to them? Where are the governors? Where are the Congress people? Where are the senators? We ought to be having sit-ins in Texas against this. We ought to be having national leadership. I mean, the way Dr. King and your father went from city to city when there was a crisis and stood tall behind those who who are on the front line. Our national leadership has to be on the front line. Don't come to me 2 years from now and say, vote for me for president. I want to see you now. I want to see you in my city now. I want to see you in Texas. I want to see you in Chicago. I want to see you in DC. And I don't want to see in DC voting on bills. I want to see in DC voting with your body to block the military vehicles from entering the city and setting up checkpoints. So it's a call from affected communities to leadership to say, I thank you for your support, but where are you? I want you to be with me now.
Well, we will. I think you're right. And I'm not waiting for the party to listen to you. I think we just have to continue to organize. That's what I've learned from you and from
And by the way, I had dinner last night with Omar Feta here in Minneapolis.
I want him on the show.
I know we're getting him on the show for you.
Thank you. I love
he
it.
He and Zahran Mamdani.
Yes.
Why Schumer and Jeffries endorsing him? Why did the Democrat Farm Labor Party take
the endorsement from Mr. Feta?
From him?
Why?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Have you seen the color of his skin? Have you seen that he's an immigrant? Have you seen that he's a socialist? Oh my goodness me! Minnesota had socialist mayors before there were any black people in the state. I mean, it was a socialist state. That's why it's called the Democrat Farm Labor Party. It was formed that way, and now they've gotten fat and comfortable, and they're nervous about a young Somali socialist who's excited people in a way that politicians in Minneapolis haven't excited people in over a decade, and they take it away from them, and they expect there to be no repercussions from young people, from immigrants. This is one really sweet guy, and
that has nothing to do with it. He's black, and he's black, and he's black. And wait a minute, I call it right where it is because
I said that first. Then
you sure did. I mean, you could you like, did you see the color of his skin? I mean, and so I'm like, you can immigrate all you want to as a black person. That marks you, but beyond all of that, the fact is, the people, Dr. Zogby, made a decision, and the party is disrespecting them.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
And you know what it does? It costs them votes from people who say, why should I support this party? It's like, look, were there irregularities in the caucuses? Of course there were. You ever been to a caucus that there weren't irregularities? But the point is that when you lose, you lose. And when you win, it's just not good form for the loser to say, I got cheated. Because losers always find the process inadequate. They can't admit defeat. Fry made a bad decision to protest it. The state party made a worse decision to endorse the protest and take the endorsement away. And like I said, win or lose, it's going to cost the party support in November and beyond. And the elected officials in the state who aren't standing behind him are making a big mistake too.
Dr. James Zogby.
Thank you.
From the DNC, sending you much love, traveling grace and mercies to you.
Thank you. And thank you. I'm sorry, guys, that I have to go. I wish I could have stayed for the rest, but I got a car coming to take me to the airport. Take me to my beloved home of occupied Washington, D.C. Bye.
Wait a minute. Lots of luck.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, you see, as he's giving us a report from the DNC meeting, what's been on the menu and what hasn't been on the menu, right? I mean, and these are the conversations, quite frankly, that we have been having for the past few weeks. Livonia Perryman, let me start with you, Texas State Representative Ron Reynolds. I wanted you to hear what he had to report, because you heard the passion that he had about Chicago and Washington, D.C. He lives in D.C. You heard the passion that he had for Texas, but Gaza. And the fact that these issues were not central to what they were talking about at the DNC, they're so out of touch. The Republicans, you got to give them credit. They did not like Donald Trump at all. But you know what they did? They said, I'll go with it. Don't like it, I'm going to hold my nose. Oh, my goodness, a friend of mine said that. I'm going to go lay him to rest on Friday. I'm going to hold my nose and vote for him because This is what we need. I mean, come on. There's such a disconnect. Texas State, I mean, it's just as if you all didn't run away for 2 weeks, run for freedom for 2 weeks. Representative Reynolds, help me.
Well, Santita, I understand the frustration that you shared, and it was good to hear from Dr. Zaxby from directly from the DNC. I talked to a few people that I know personally that went there from Houston, and I can tell you that I have an enormous amount of respect for the new party chairman, Ken Martin, but I am very frustrated with the way that things are operating in the sense that I believe that they are running away from the energy and the grassroots uh, to more of a um, I don't want to say coward, but they're running away from the Gaza issue. I think they're afraid that they may upset their some Jewish donors. I think that's probably what they're doing. I guess are there some corporate donors? I don't know, but I do believe that it is important that we don't run away from the core issues. That's what the leadership is. You don't run from issues. You hit it head on and you address it. Just because you don't address it doesn't mean the issue goes away. So let's prioritize the issues, and let's also make room for people that disagree with you. Let's make room for Bernie Sanders. Let's make room for the people like David Hogg that maybe there's some conflict with. Let's make sure we're bringing young people into the fold. Let's make sure we're bringing even people that are very, progressive. So my frustration, Santita, has been that the DNC was not thinking outside the box. They were trying to operate with cookie cutter approaches that weren't working. They were more relying on Washington, D.C. and New York consultants that were not in touch with the real issues in various communities. And they were trying to one size fits all approach when they can't do that. They can't have a one size fits all approach. And I think that they took the black vote primarily for granted. And the African American vote has been the foundation of the Democratic Party. And they tried to run away, assuming that they're going to vote Democratic, basically taking the black vote for granted, not using black consultants, not investing the resources in the African American community, in the black press, with black consultants. And I think that has all been a mistake. It has been a colossal failure. And when I was with Leader Jeffries, when he came to Texas to talk about the quorum break, I talked to him about that. Every chance I get when I'm with these national leaders, I talk to Ken Martin about that as well, because I was with Ken Martin. And I'm going to use every opportunity I have to make sure that I hold them accountable. And that is Leader Jeffries, that is Ken Martin, that is Chuck Schumer. Those are the three quote unquote leaders right now leading the Democratic Party because we don't have a president. And so those are the ones that are on the front line. But I don't think those are the ones that move the masses. I mean, you talk about Bernie Sanders, you talk about AOC, you talk about Jasmine Crockett. They have far more big influence, but those are the people that don't have the quote unquote leadership titles, but they are definitely where I think a lot of the energy is. So I hope that we as a party will get to the point where we put egos at the door and say, hey, we're going to do the deep dive and go where the facts lead us and not try to sugarcoat it for anyone, but say, hey, we can't run away from Gaza. Hey, we can't not make these critical investments in the Black African American community to build up the infrastructure. So that's what I would like to see more of, and I've done that. Here's the problem. I'll say this, Santita, real quickly. You got too many Black people in the room that just happy to be in the room. They happy to have a seat at the table. As long as their issues are met, then guess what? They're okay. So they don't really get in the way and say, I'm gonna make good trouble, I'm gonna stir it up. They're like happy to have the title and to have a seat at the table, but they ain't making any waves. They're not doing anything to um, level set or address anything that could be controversial. So they're just kind of a yes man or a yes woman. We need people at the table that aren't going along to get along. That's going to say, I am going to do whatever is in the best interest of winning, in the best interest of our collaborative, respected communities. And we will not continue to allow the American vote to be taken for granted. Those are the kind of people I want in the room, not some of these handkerchief head Negroes that get in the room and they just skinning and grinning. I see you over there laughing, Livonia, but I'm just keeping it real. This is what I see. I see some of them are just happy to be in the room. They got a title, maybe they got a little budget, and they're okay. But the communities that they come from aren't okay. Like I'll give you this quick example. I'm not okay just because we got a black face in Clarence Thomas. Yes, he's a Supreme Court justice, but he ain't no Thurgood Marshall. He's been so bad for the black community as a whole, but he got that seat on the backs of having a Thurgood Marshall, right? It's no different when you get another person on a inside and they got a seat at the table. It's unfortunate that too many of them don't use that platform to be able to then articulate and make it better for others. So that's what I think, Santita. We have to really hold these so-called leaders accountable. And guess what? If they're not going to do what they need to do, then we need to replace them.
Look, you get no argument from me. I'm Livonia Perryman, because we've seen this before. Because part of, and I know I go back to the Jackson campaign, but I think the further away that we get from it, we see just how important it was.
Yes.
We've not had a campaign like it before or since. Because while he was running for president, he was also advocating for the party to take out ads, to have a real budget for Black media, to mete out contracts to Black vendors. He was doing that while he was running for president, he was doing that. He said, no. Now that we've gotten in here, we see all that we're missing, all that you have at your disposal, and you can't have any of this unless I vote for you. You mean to tell me, wait a minute, what? And so I'm just supposed to be excited about being on the DNC, being on the committee? No, that's not enough. That's not right. We've got people who've become very wealthy messaging, but then we have another responsibility, Livonia, when we get in there. You're supposed to be advocating.
Absolutely.
You cannot have all these unregistered people.
No.
Just Black and brown people. I mean, poor people who are in a lot of pain. You cannot do this and then nothing. You have a meeting and you don't talk about Texas. You don't talk about the gerrymandering. They're not just rolling out in California. They're rolling out all over the country. You mean to tell me Gaza has shifted the entire conversation, not just in the United States, but in the world? It's a whole different ball game. And you mean to tell me you won't move? And you wonder why Kamala lost? But then you want to blame people whose families are being blown up while we speak. Are you serious right now? You say what you will. This is not an academic discussion for Rashida Tlaib. Her grandmama lives in the West Bank. You got to be kidding me. You can't do that.
Right.
On my money? Oh, come on, Livonia.
Well, the first thing we must never forget, the basis of all of this is race, religion, and the difference between race and religion as it relates to what we see is happening coming out of the White House and those individuals who support those efforts is Black and white. Let's look at it in vivid color. Just think about that as we move forward. Then what you have, you get up in the morning, each morning, and you hear the voice and the name of one individual. Democrats, I'm speaking to you now. And then when you go to bed, the last name and the voice that you hear is the same. There's a vacuum. Or let me put it this way. There's someone taking all the air out of radio, television, social media, print, flags, all of that. And that is the White House and the person who is the president of the United States. And I am asking myself as a Democrat, where are the voices? Why aren't we heard? No matter what he says, we should have a rapid response to whatever it may be. Oh, so you're going to come to Chicago? And I commend the governor of Chicago. I commend the mayor of Chicago. But what we have to do, Democrats, collectively, is wrap our arms around Chicago and say, no, we are going to express ourselves. Where's Jeffrey's voice? Schumer's voice? Where are those voices? They should get up in the morning with talking points from their heart, from their soul, from their gut, and says, we will not tolerate anyone disrespecting Black women. Just imagine, I got up this morning and heard that Trump says Black women just love me.
Because wait a minute, because he's got a whole group of them.
Yes.
Who all, I mean, and who, look, because I know, you know these Black Republicans too, many of them. And, you know, I don't mind folks being in different parties, Ron.
No.
I mean, first of all, I'm with it. I am. Look, get in, just go where you really feel you need to go. But I'm asking you to advocate, Livonia. But what they're doing, I mean, and they're all made up looking like they don't live in that neighborhood, and they might. But what Republicans do is give them money. Let's just keep it 100.
And I guess what I'm saying is that
no, wait a minute. I want you to respond to this.
Yes.
I want you to respond to this because we've seen it happen over and over again, and I think people need to understand what's going on here.
Yes.
Because they have a group of them, and they're all over social media, and they are saying, and even they're doing MOS, man on the street interviews, and they are getting people to say, "Hey, I feel safe now." You know what's happening, and you know, and you have been in the room when you have sent out reporters. You know how this works better than I do.
And that's what I guess what I'm saying is that the Democrats need to fill that void. If we already know the problem, we already know what the Republicans are doing. We already know their strategy. We've watched it. I learned from 84 and 88 how this strategy rolls out. I watched it happen with Clinton. And here we are today, 2025. It's a repeat. It's not anything new. What they're doing is they're taking control of media. And media is being complicit with the Republican Party and moving the message along. How are you sitting in the midst of a cabinet meeting for 4 hours and standing there and let a man talk about, I mean, I'm going to just use it once again, that Black women are running up to me and hugging me. And on the other side, just so I want to speak to this, on the other side, he's calling Black women out of their name. Do you understand what we're saying? Democrats, when that happened, Democrats, the leadership should have been messaging that we will not tolerate not only Black women being disrespected, which is, by the way, the highest voting number percentage in the Democratic Party. Let me repeat that. African-American females that look like me and Santita are the largest group of people who put people in office as Democrats in the last 15 years. We have not flinched. We have not gone away. But when you have someone calling sisters, Black women out of their name, that party.
Now, when did he do that?
That was, what was the words? I didn't want to say them. He said, with Mrs. Love out of Federal Reserve and Letitia James. He called them fat Black women. Let's say it like you said. Mm-hmm. Where were the voices to wrap the arms of messaging around that statement? Where were we as Democrats saying we will not tolerate that from anyone, Black or white? That was not said. It was silence. Silence.
But see, this goes, I mean, Livonia. Look, my mother told me, and she's been married 64 years almost. She said, honey, you love who loves you. I don't care who you love. You got to love who loves you. Because eventually, if he treats you well, you will appreciate him and then you can love him too. But if a man doesn't love you, he never will. Come on, you know that's true, Ron Reynolds. That's what women get that thing all wrong. Y'all get mad with me if you want to. Don't get it twisted, sis. If he does not love you, sweetheart, he never will. Munch on that.
But I guess what I'd like to say that.
And what I'm saying is, don't play with me.
Right. And
because
that's
they keep playing with us.
Right. Right. The Democratic Party.
Yeah.
The Republican Party is real clear. They found wait a minute. They make 10 women sound like 10,000.
They are pit bulls. Each one of them. Right. They dress them up.
That's right.
Give them some money.
Yes.
They put them out in the community, and then they recruit some more people. Democrats give you no money.
No money.
Barely give you any attention. Okay? No, I mean, it's the truth. And here we are.
Let me say this.
Wait a minute. They don't give black people any money. They don't give black people any attention.
That's right.
They give these white consultants who constantly lose.
That part.
Okay?
Preach.
They give them all of the contracts.
Yep.
All of the attention.
Yep.
They get the TV shows. They get the radio shows. They get all of that. Now, you know what? We ought to be sick of that. Okay?
You cannot
Nobody is feeling that. How is it that Ron and Yolanda and all of these Texas Democrats had to worry about how am I going to eat? There is enough money in the Democratic Party. Say, you know what? Have at it. Stay out as long as you need to stay out. How much do you make a year? Okay, we got you. Where's your wife? Where's your partner? Where are your children? Would you need tuition paid? They could have done all of that.
I am not speaking out of class. This is what the DNC chair said. You cannot go to a fight with a pencil when somebody else has a knife. That's a quote from Martin. That is exactly what he says. And that's what we're doing right now. You cannot bring a pencil to a knife fight. That is not where we should be. And the messaging should be, and I want to go back to Zogby. Zogby is right. Every blue state, red state, but wherever progressive are, we should mobilize. That we learned in 84. We should mobilize. We should be on the streets. We should be organized. We should register people to vote day 1, day 2, day 3. It's a shame and a pity that we are in the midst in Detroit. Only 16% of the people voted for the next mayor of Detroit, which is on the chopping block out of Trump's mouth. And so I'm saying to people around the country, this is not just about me and Reynolds and others. It is about you. It is about us. And you can be a Democrat, a Republican, or independent. When you're talking about slicing up and dicing up democracy, it will impact your lifestyle, regardless of whatever race, whatever religion, and whatever party you're in. You will guaranteed be impacted by the decisions are made. And the question as we close out, what you going to do about it?
Well, Chaparral said the DNCA said a word about the Texas fight. Democrats don't respect the base. What Republicans don't respect the base either, but they speak to them. They said, you know what, I don't like you, Trump. They said that privately, but okay, you're winning. Okay, we got you. We got you. We'll work with you. We'll do this. What Democrats did to Bernie, who on a rumor was pulling 10, 20, 50, 100,000 people. All of the Democratic leadership called and shut down his campaign. And then they pulled out someone who was losing. We were asking for Biden to leave the campaign. They took the bottom and put them at the top. And then you wondered why they struggled all through the presidency. Make that make sense to me.
But none of it makes sense.
No, they're playing games with me.
Sure, they are.
And before someone trolls me and says that I am anti-democrat, we made the party. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. We did not have any space in the party until we ran and won. And the only time Reverend got another seat at the convention, really, past Clinton, he didn't get a seat at the convention until he rolled in his wheelchair in 2024. True. You might think that I'm taking that personally.
It's true.
I can't take it personally because I don't have the emotional investment. See, you can only be betrayed by a friend, and you can only be disappointed in someone in whom you have an investment.
Yes.
I don't have that kind of investment. I'm not going to work against you, but I look at you and go, you're not. I cannot have the Texas Democrats sit out here like this, be treated like they are garbage, treated like they are less than citizens, as if they're almost enslaved. They had them followed around the state. They were threatened with arrest, et cetera, et cetera. And you don't say anything about that? That's not a centerpiece. That's not something that you send the DNC so that they put it out there. So when they go home, they fire everybody else up about it. They didn't even touch it. What? Are you serious? Gaza has completely changed. Everybody's mind has flipped on this thing. They say 62,000 people have been killed. Lancet said up to 500,000 people have been killed. Will be killed. More than 250,000 people have been killed. They have people under the rubble. Are you for real? Who's going to rebuild Gaza? The Palestinians should rebuild Gaza. That's their home.
Who's going to be rebuilding their lives, the lives of the next generation, and who is going to be there to support them?
Livonia, we just blocked the children from the Palestinian children from coming into the United States for medical care. Are you for real?
Yes.
That's evil.
It is evil. Yes.
Oh my, I don't want, y'all, wait a minute. I don't want, I'm trying to get to heaven. I have more days behind me than I have ahead. I don't want any part of that, anybody. That's wickedness.
And so I would like to say the message what you're sharing right now, it needs to be lifted up, and it needs to be moved out, and it needs to vibrate around the country. Every voice, every person who can speak truth is part of a movement. You can be a part of the movement. I want people to hear me and see that you can be part of the movement. This is not just about being a Democrat or Republican or independent. It's about being human and respecting those people who are your neighbors and your lifestyle. And remember, there's a generation that you have to hold up. If you don't do anything to protect them, they're either going to take over or lose and move from that party to wherever they may feel comfortable. People are looking for a home, and the messaging should be constant, every day, all day, round the clock, every day, saying we will not tolerate them overstepping in Chicago. We will not tolerate them taking over Texas. We will not tolerate Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, nowhere. Baltimore, Maryland, and Los Angeles, California, masses of people have to hear that message. And guess what? Not only hear the message, they got to feel it in their heart and their soul. And that's the responsibility of Jeffries, Schumer, and the elected officials in those states and in those cities. They are responsible for lifting up those individuals and giving them cover to express themselves in their states, in their city, in their counties, and in their townships. That's where we are going to make a difference. It's going to be bottom up again.
It always has been. But look,
Yes.
The messaging, but I got to have the manifestation. When I've got Mamdani, when I've got Fateh in Minneapolis, who won? These guys won on the Democratic platform. And what you want to do is change their positions. You want them to not be who the people voted for. You cannot continue to disrespect your voters. and think that they will stay. They shouldn't stay. Mamdani won on his platform.
Sure did.
Get on the bus, y'all.
Yes.
It has left the station.
And I just want to say,
Omar Fayed up in Minneapolis,
yeah.
He went on a similar platform. Get on the bus, y'all.
And Mary Sheffield, under 45 in Detroit, she won over 50% of the vote for mayor. She could be the first female mayor in the city of Detroit. She won it based on bottom up, young folks, and she was consistent in terms of registering people for 4 years. I know that for a fact. For 4 years, she never stopped, and is still doing it today. That's what I'm saying. There are good examples in the Democratic Party. There are good people in the Democratic Party. There's some very exciting people in the Democratic Party. They need to be heard, their arms wrapped around them, and supported just like we should have been supporting the people out of Texas. What happened in Texas, we should never let it happen again. If anyone has to go to another state and they're saying, I'm coming to your state so I can be protected, show protection. Show it.
Well, wait a minute. And there are people who are not in the party who might be inclined to be a part of it.
That's right.
See, because I'm gonna tell you, I am not. Look, y'all got this. It's a binary system, and I'll ride with this as long as I can. But I got to tell you, I'm looking at something else. Because see, I'm talking to these young people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not thinking about any of these parties. They want some deliverables.
Well,
okay. And they've got some people who have said some things, have platforms, not said some things, they have platforms that work for them. The Democrats are not listening. See, I don't care who looks like me. I'm sick of that. Because you know what? The House Negro looked like me.
There you go.
And they did not help me. Sometimes it was some kindly white man or white woman who said, like John Brown said, this ain't right.
Speak truth.
Wait, I need you to feel like me.
That's right. Speak truth.
That's what I need you to do. See, Harriet Tubman carried a gun because she knew some of us were not ready. Mm-hmm. And some of us were going to go back and tell Massa what we were doing. And they were going to get all of us killed. Now, I'm not saying that you need to carry a gun and threaten to have people at the end of a barrel. All I'm saying to you is that this ain't working. You can't have Mamdani and Fateh out there
alone.
Who want not? I mean, you're disrespecting. You are telling Mamdani, if you do not answer these questions the way I need you to, then guess what? We're not going to endorse you. Oh, you know what? Worse, we're going to jam you. Because Cuomo is saying, I expect Trump to help me to win. For real? You would let your nominee hang out here like this? So whose side are you really on anyway?
Let me go back to what I said in the beginning. Remember, this could be a situation where we deal with Black, white, and religion. And if you're not on the right side of that, there are some people who might say, well, maybe Trump can help me get what I need. And if their need is not democracy, the country is in trouble.
That's where a lot of these Black Republicans are. They're like the Democrats have not delivered for me. That's how all of them are not ill-intentioned. Mm-mm. A lot of them feel betrayed. Mm-hmm. And we have to deal with that. I feel betrayed when I see what they have come up with the DNC, what they didn't touch. I'm like, and I've been to a meeting and I saw who was there. I'm like, who are these people? Because when y'all come to Chicago and when you go to New York, no one sees you. You're out of touch. And this is a time when people need to be touched.
True. True. They need to be touched in order to actually take care of business, take care of the community, really spread the word of democracy. You have to be touched by those people who you have elected as leaders. Their voices need to be heard. And we should not sit back and let the breath and the air be taken out of our daily lives by one person and one party. All of us should participate in the conversation, period. And our position needs to be heard. I would dare say, hopefully, that maybe the Democrats are hearing and they would put their position out there in the streets, not in New York, in the, in the 5th floor where the consultants are, in the street, in the community, as Zogby said, town hall meetings, church meetings. That's right, church meetings in the basement. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
That's where the conversation needs to be held. And then we need to do old school 1984 mobilization. That's what I'm talking about.
And you need to respect the people's conclusions, yes, which is what is not happening right now. They're not respecting the people. When you go past what the voters in Minneapolis and New York have said, you're not respecting the people. I think it's wonderful. They have the first black and the woman. I think that is wonderful. But, don't act like people are stupid. Not you, but I'm just, you have to act like people are as smart as they say. And sometimes we make mistakes, but we correct them. When someone is telling you that, yeah, it makes sense to me. You mean to tell me I can get on the bus, which my tax dollars are subsidizing? You mean to tell me you're going to let me ride and I don't have to pay it since I'm already paying? We're taxed to death. Wow, that's great. You know what? You really see that's a world that you can see? Well, I'm going to sign on to that. No, and they keep playing these games with him.
One of the things that I think that we could do as leaders and the leadership is give folk, as we say, hope that you have the right to say what's on your mind without harming other people. You have the desire, if you have the desire to have a job, you have the desire to advance your education, you have the desire to live in a certain neighborhood, that you are able to do that. And then if you bump up against an issue, that there are individuals, your leaders, will protect you or at least support you in making those strides. But trust me, this new generation is coming behind me. They are not really waiting on the message from the people who are sitting in Washington, D.C. They're not waiting. And then we get angry with them because they're moving forward.
Honey, they've gone to the party. That Livonia, they're not even Democrats, honey. They've gone home. Okay, so wait a minute. Stop it. I mean, I love Motown, but they're not grooving to that. They're down the street. I talk to these young people because they're my nieces, nephews, and godchildren, and their friends. They don't want to hear me talk about a party. They want to hear me talk about results. They want product.
Good point.
So we've lost that. That's why Mamdani won. That's why Omar Fateh won. That's why they won, because they didn't come at them with talking points from the party.
Right.
They came at them with deliverables for the people.
Results. What are you going to do about the issues that impact our daily life?
What do you need?
Yes.
You need some good food that is affordable. Oh, okay. We're going to work on that. Oh, so we need affordable housing. We're going to work on that. That's what they want to hear. If you're not talking that language, you don't deserve the vote.
I would dare say that.
Here. I literally have I have a minute for each of you, literally. Go on, Livonia.
Well, I would like to say that we should, wherever that there is a dissension and there's people who need protection, like our good brothers and sisters in Texas, that we need to share that we are with you all the way and show that through money, votes, commitment of some sort to support those people who are supporting our voice, our needs, and democracy.
And Santita, I would just add that it is essential, it is vital, imperative that we include the voices that some in the DNC are trying to leave behind, whether that be Black women, whether that be the Democratic Socialists, or the progressive wing of the party. All those voices are going to be critical in order to rebuild and win, because those are the energy that went to the poll in New York and beat the establishment, beat the establishment in Minnesota, that is turning out young people, giving them a reason to want to go cast a vote. And so that is what my message is to Ken Martin, to Hakeem Jeffries, to Chuck Schumer, and the entire Democratic Party establishment, that if they don't do that, then we could be looking at another loss in the future. The polling doesn't look great for the Democratic Party. The Democratic brand is not strong right now. And I'm a proud Democrat, so I'm just being very candid. And I'm willing to say the quiet part out loud. The polls aren't lying. The brand is tarnished. And Santita, you were right when you were saying young people, they don't identify as Democrats.
No.
They don't identify as Republicans. So you have to appeal to the issues. And you can bring them to the table if you're willing to go out and listen to them, not talk to them and talk down to them and shame them. That's not going to work.
They don't want to hear it. They need results, because they cannot afford to rent an apartment. They cannot afford to buy houses. They're defaulting on their credit cards if they can get them. They're defaulting on their student loans. Their world is crashing. Their worlds are crashing down around them. The floor is being removed from beneath their feet. They're falling into the abyss. It's not right. And for these people to act as if you're representing me and you tell me peace, peace, when there is no peace. No. That no, it's going to be all right. No, I need food tonight. I mean, this evening, I'm hungry. I am hungry tonight.
That's right.
I mean, really, a whole lot of bodies are going to bed in the United States of America tonight without food.
That's true.
A whole lot of people are squatters in their apartments. They're just sneaking in. Now, if you're not going to speak to that, people are not getting married because they're like, what's the point? They're not going to school. What's the point? Now we're turning people into, we are destroying people. The worst thing you can do is to kill someone's dream.
That spirit.
That's a horrible thing to do. That's what's happening.
Yeah. And
even though the Republicans are being lied to, at least they're being spoken to. They were not told, well, we don't like, let me tell you, you're going to take Jeb Bush. No, y'all, the Republicans did not want Jeb Bush. Remember when he was before the people speaking, he said, clap, please. They knew he'd already lost. When he said, look, you ain't got no energy. When he went through that campaign and went boom, 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 and took everybody out. Hey, watch out. The Republicans said, well, I don't like him. Never Trump has turned into his biggest fans. Because they said, we need to win. And what we will do is put people around him and push him away from these positions. But but at least we'll have the office, and what we can do when we get there. Democrats aren't even doing that. What they do is, and now we're hearing that, wow, if Kamala talks about, it gives any critique of her campaign, that the Biden people are going to come after her. I mean, are you for real? Mark Halperin reported that, and now that story's out here. Really? Huh? She didn't deserve that.
She didn't.
She didn't deserve 107 days.
No.
And I didn't need Jake Tapper's book to tell me what everybody saw for several years while he was an apologist for it. Are you for real? He didn't have a PR person, and he had a crisis manager to guide him through his book tour. Enough. People are sick of it. We're seeing all of the lies, and everybody is tired of it, as they are hungry, as they cannot pay their rent. This is not right. I cannot do this. It's not going to work. So, I can't. I want some results. Democrats, you all need to get on board and support Mr. Mamdani. You shouldn't withdraw your support for the man who everybody voted for in Minneapolis. What is wrong with you? If you do not embrace him, then you don't deserve their vote. And you won't get it either.
And as Zabdi said, it would be a mistake.
Of course, it would be a mistake. That having been said, well, they're making the mistake, not the voters.
That's right.
They're making the mistake. They're making the mistake. The voters know what they need. Now, either I'm not serving the party's supposed to serve me. That part. And they better wise up, because they're going to mess around and they're going to find out. What do they say? Mess around and find out. They put it another way, but
Yeah.
You mess around, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. Yeah. So everybody, look, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful holiday for those who work and those who want to work. So many people want to work, and they want to be respected for the work that they do and be paid properly for it. We need a prosperity wage for everybody. Everybody matters. Everybody. So on this Labor Day, think about that. As you thank the serviceman and woman, thank the garbage worker. Because if they go on strike, we're not going to do well. Okay? Everybody serves. Thank the teacher. They serve you too. Thank the person in the diner who's serving you your food. Thank the cooks. Everybody fits somewhere. Everybody matters. Think about that. Think about that on this Labor Day. Think about that. I love you, Livonia Perryman. I love you, Representative Ron Reynolds. I'm glad you're back home. Hope your baby's doing well.
Thank you.
Sending you all so much love. Hey, everybody. Have a wonderful, safe holiday. And all my love to the Caprio family up in Rhode Island. This compassionate judge, Judge Frank Caprio. I'm on my way to his service in the morning. And I thank God for his life today. If you want to know how a judge is supposed to behave, check out Judge Frank Caprio. He's gotten more than 20 billion with a B views on Facebook because he's just been kind. You're supposed to have mercy and be humble as you walk before God. Well, that's what he did. And he was just a kind, kind soul. And I pray that he is resting in peace and power. God bless you, Judge Frank Caprio and the wonderful Caprio family. Love you all. See you up there in Rhode Island. I'm on my way there. And everybody, please take care of yourselves. Be safe in this holiday. I hope to see you again just in a few more days. Love you. God bless you. AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. Like and share the show, everybody. Like and share the show. Like and share the show. Hey, hey, hey. Like and share the show. And meet me on Blue Sky, santitajackson.bsky.social, at Santita J on X, Santita Jackson IG. That's right, on Instagram. Santita Jackson and Friends on Facebook. Whoa. I'm trying to get into all these places. Hello, where else am I? There you go. Okay. I love you all. God bless.